All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to G League day number 8. We're getting close to the conclusion of Group B. After today, there's only one day left. That's tomorrow when 2 matches will be played. Happy New Year's to everybody just tuning in from here in Philadelphia. It's finally New Year's all around the world. It's 2013. Should be a wonderful year for Dota 2. Remember, the game isn't really officially released yet. Technically, it's sort of like a beta, not really a beta, but moving forward, eventually, I think, at some point, it's got to be a real game with a fully available to the entire public, and then we'll see just how big it gets. I'm LD. I'm joined here today by Winter, and on a more specific note towards G League, this is a very crucial match. Whoever wins this match, almost certainly going to win Group B. That's just the way the math's going to work, as well as the way these two teams have played. I don't really see MUFC or VG Gaming beating either of them based on the Day 1 and Day 2 performances. Anyway, Winter, with that being said, what do you think about this matchup? What do you think about what we've seen so far out of Group B?
I think this would be the most interesting matchup from Group B, as two of the strongest teams in the group are facing each other. And actually, I want to ask you, LD, what's the difference between getting first place and second place in the group?
First place goes straight to the round of 4. They go straight to the semifinals. The way the playoffs work, the second and third place teams from each group, they play. So second place from Group A plays third place from Group B, and then vice versa. And then the winners of those games play the first place team. So if you're in first place, you skip one round of the playoffs, you get seeded directly into the semifinals. So you only have to win one game to be in the grand finals.
Oh, so this is also a very important matchup for them, for both teams to win.
Very, very important. Because if you win this match, and especially if you win it 2-0, I think I don't know if you're mathematically assured advancing, but it's going to be very hard for you not to take first place. Since
true.
The way the group standings are looking right now, there's 2 teams that are 1-0. That's IG and Tongfu. So the winner of this match is 2-0. And at that point, if they lose their next game, and let's say a team like MUFC, let's say MUFC wins their next game, as long as whoever is playing this match takes at least one game in their final match, whoever wins this match takes another game in their final match tomorrow, I think there's no way MUFC can catch up to them. And obviously VG Gaming can't because they're 0-2. And besides that, I'm not convinced MUFC can actually beat IG based on what we saw from them on Day 1 and Day 2.
Well, we can wait. There might be some surprises though, but like what you said, it's highly unlikely that they will beat IG 2-0.
Yeah, and if they don't beat them 2-0, then it's going to be impossible for them to take first place, I believe.
Yeah, you're the math person here.
Because they already have 2 losses because they got 2-0'd in their first match. So it's a little different from Group A. In Group A, every single match went 2-1, which means the game, I think your total wins and losses as far as individual maps go, that's one of the ways that the tiebreakers are decided, along with your overall maps, your overall games won, obviously, your total matches won, and your head-to-head matchups, I think, is the final tiebreaker.
Okay. So if MUFC wins the next game 2-0 and IG loses this game, so they might have a chance to get second place?
Yeah, MUFC has a chance to get second place. There might be like one weird oddball scenario where they could get first, but it probably has, it has to do with like all of the other series for IG and Tongfu being 2-1. Either way, we'll know more about the scenarios after today's matchup, but the bottom line is, whoever wins this has the inside track to first place. They control their own destiny. They can get right into the semifinals if they do well tomorrow. Whereas the loser, they're fighting with MUFC, and there's even a chance that maybe VG Gaming, I think, could sneak in. But I think there's like one scenario where VG Gaming could advance, but it requires a lot of things to go their way.
Yeah, their fate is already not in their own hands right now, VG.
Yeah, they don't control their own destiny anymore. That's a tough place to be.
Yeah, it's going to be very tough for them.
So that's sort of the general state of the group right now. And if we talk specifically about today's matchup, IG versus Tongfu, we have the most aggressive Chinese team by far in IG. It's not even really close. Very aggressive, often gank-oriented. We see them pick up a lot of heroes like Night Stalker, Bounty Hunter. Even the heroes that their mid plays, Ferrari, it's normally heroes like TA, or I mentioned the Night Stalker already. Sometimes we see as Panda, not as often lately, and although I think we saw it in their last match. But yeah, it's generally a very aggressive squad. Tongfu, much more defensive, it seems, for the most part. They played aggressive in their first match against MUFC, but I don't know that they would have done that if it was a close game. I think that was mostly because they were just dominating the whole way through.
Yeah, they were dominating from the start, and it made them easy to go very aggressive later on because with the level advantage and the items as well.
So for everyone complaining about lag, that's not me, that's the Chinese stream, which sometimes is very smooth on Twitch TV and then sometimes not so much. So specifically this matchup, IG versus Tongfu, talk to me about how you see the teams butting heads. What are some of the key heroes? What's the strategy going to be from each side? How do you see this whole thing playing out?
I think it will be Tongfu trying to defend their towers and farming up all their other heroes with split pushing, and IG will be going aggressive, ganking, usual ganking lineup, trying to take down your towers. And I think Tongfu will be counting on their Keeper of the Light to be able to hold the pushback and give time for Hao, MU, all to farm up their items.
And you mentioned Hao and Mu, and I'm glad you did, because it's an interesting thing about Tongfu. They're not like LGD or DK, where it's just Burning or Sylar who gets by far the majority of the farm and is really normally the only carry player or carry hero on the team. Tongfu often goes for 2 carries, both for Hao and Mu. We saw them pick Lone Druid and Shadow Fiend earlier. They put Shadow Fiend mid, I think, and Lone Druid, or no, it was Lone Druid mid and Shadow Fiend in the safe lane. So this is a team that really likes their dual core strategies.
Yeah, they always run with both 2 core heroes, not one like LGD. Both the LGD teams, are very different style. They run only 1 core.
Yeah. So and that's if you're IG, is that something that favors you when Tongfu's running 2 carries? Is it going to spread the supports too thin? Will they have more openings to get kills, or is it going to be harder to shut them down? Like, do you think that affects how effective IG will be, or should they look to change their strategy? Like, what's your response if you're IG? You're not playing a normal sort of 1 carry lineup. You're playing the dual carry. So what do you do if you're IG to deal with that?
Well, it's better to face IG when you have multiple cores. The reason being, if the team is so aggressive and you have only 1 core hero, they can always focus that hero and put a lot of pressure on him to slow down his farm or even try to gank him successfully. So if you have 2 cores or even 3, I think 2 is normally the common one, you can have sort of a distraction from the other hero to create a distraction so that the other more important hero gets the farm.
And along those lines, if they want to go for the dual cores, we saw them play Shadow Fiend and Lone Druid. I think the Lone Druid is going to be a hero that, you know, is either getting banned or picked up very early by Tongfu. What other kind of heroes will we see? We've seen DK from them in the past. I know that's something Hao used to play a lot of. Hasn't played as much lately. It seems nobody's really picking Dragon Knight, but I bring him up because this was a hero they've had a lot of success with in the past, and it's pretty good against aggressive lineups. He's very tanky. He's not an easy hero to kill.
But he's one of his main weaknesses. He doesn't pushes the side lane as fast as other heroes like SF.
So who would be better? What would be a better option, perhaps?
I think Tongfu, they could opt for the Mu, Queen of Pain, because Queen of Pain, you can generally push the side lanes very fast, and it's really hard to catch him off as well. That's one of the heroes that is good to create space for a secondary carry, the Queen of Pain. Because of the speed she brings up the lanes and the versatility she has, she can choose from many sorts of item builds and playstyle. And with the blink, it's really hard to catch her. And
I'm going along with your line of thinking. We often see IG Ferraris playing the Panda, the Night Stalker, a lot of these heroes. Even something like the TA, Queen of Pain is not amazing against TA, but does reasonably well, especially if she gets pulled Sentry Ward, so you can't meld dodge the Shadow Strikes early on. And with that, it's something Mu can slow down those aggressive tempo controllers for Ferrari in the mid game. So I think to some extent it really does. It's also going to deal well with what IG wants to do, which is get Ferrari on a tower diver, an aggressive mid game hero, and look to slow down when that aggression starts.
Yeah, it's one of the important points for this game as well. When you mention the tempo controller by IG, which they favor a lot, Tongfu has to use a Queen of Pain or even a Lanaya to control and slow down Ferrari as much as they can before they can proceed on to their aggressive ganking and tower diving.
And often we've seen you can slow down Ferrari, but then YYF gets a little out of control, especially if you give him something like Bat Rider, which seems to be maybe his scariest hero right now, as Magnus did receive some nerfs. Of course, there's always the Bounty Hunter to worry about. YYF's so versatile. You can't really ban away all of his heroes, but it's Ferrari. I think Ferrari the one you want to shut down the most, but you can't just shut him down. You do have to at least slow down YYF, or get something good in return, or he'll be the one to punish you later in the game.
Yeah, you can't shut down everyone, but the main thing is you can't let both of them be really strong early on. Remember the game where they were using Panda and Bat Rider when both of them has their daggers and he was basically controlling everything from then on, taking all the towers.
Right. I think this team's almost different. You know, the strategy you want to take with IG, it seems like it's a lot different from a DK or LGD where, you know, oftentimes, you know, you want to get aggressive against Sylar or Burning to slow down their farm in the early game. Sure, you want to slow down Xiao 8, Super to some extent, but and even Yao maybe, but it feels like it's mostly about the one position players. That's where you want to focus your energy if you're playing those teams. With IG, it seems like it's more about shutting down the mid-game controllers, 430 and YYF. For me, that's the key to this series, is can they slow them down enough to get their carries, the dual core sufficiently farmed that they're not easy prey in the mid-game?
And do you remember the other day, IG against VG, the game, it became really hard for IG because Ferrari was constantly being shut down by the Bat Rider all the time. He died so many times in the early stages. The Bat Rider, he just targeted Ferrari down every single time.
Yeah, and in that game, Zhou had a really, really easy time, if I'm remembering correctly, because they focused on Ferrari, they focused on YYF, I believe, and YYF had a pretty good start, I think, but Ferrari got shut down a lot, and even just shutting down Ferrari, it gave them a lot of space in the mid game. That was the game where Zhou was a safe lane lone druid against an off lane XTT Bat Rider.
No, there was no one at the lane. He was free farming the lane. The Bat Rider was in the jungle.
Yeah, we thought he was going to be in the lane, but like you said, he sat in the jungle, and they gave Zhou free farm, but it's like it still got very hard for IG in the mid game. And it's not that Zhou's a weaker carry; it's more just the kinds of lineups that IG pick. If you shut down those tempo controllers, they're not normally as good at 5-man Dota. In terms of team fighting, the lineups they're picking, it's not quite as 5-man heavy. It's a little bit more gank-oriented than, say, an LGD or a DK.
Yeah, it's one of the very important points. If Tongfu, they want to stand a chance to beat IG or even increase the chances of beating IG, they have to pick something to disrupt their tempo controller. That's one of the very important factors why IG is always so successful in their aggressive game.
So along those lines, what else could we see? We've talked about some of Mu's heroes. Tongfu, they used to run more jungle play. We haven't really seen it out of them, but that's something that LGD International has done a lot to slow down the enemy solos. Do you think it's possible we'll see a resurgence of that in this series? Maybe a little bit more jungling from them?
I'm not sure though, because the time where we practiced with Tongfu, we didn't play too many games with them. They didn't really run any jungler against us. Because longdd, when he was in DK, they did let him play the Chen.
Yeah, when he plays a jungler, it's normally a Prophet, it seems. He doesn't seem to play the Chen very often as of late.
But I remember he does play Chen before. Well,
he does before, yes. I haven't seen him play it in a recent official, though. I'm not sure. Maybe that's just coincidence. But it's one of the tools that any team would have if they want to use a jungler and maybe dual roam. That's one way to really slow down the enemy mid, the enemy off lane, is if you can get those smoke ganks. We saw LGD International really be successful with that.
And one more thing I want to point out as well. Every time IG, they have a very hard game during the mid phase, it was due to the fact that in the early phase, Ferrari is either being shut down or the enemy team, they use a dual lane on his mid hero.
Yeah, would Tongfu dual lane mid though? I'm not sure. Maybe a CK +1? They haven't really played that hero lately.
Seems like only LGD China, they do the dual lane. No one else does it in the Chinese scene. And
it's not even a true dual lane because they're always moving. They're smoking, they're getting runes, the supports are...
Okay, so it's 1.5.
Yeah, it's a 1.5 lane. See, now you're the one with all the math today. So we just saw all the players introduced. I think notably for Tongfu, it's worth pointing out this team did have some roster changes after the International too. The new players, longdd, formerly from DK, and Veronica, formerly from World Elite. So they have had roster changes, and that is partially, I think, why we saw them struggle in the G1 League, getting used to having the new roster, everybody adapting to their new roles, also the new patch. If there's a new patch, it takes longer to adapt when you're making roster changes, but they have looked much more solid. Granted, we've only seen them play once, but it was against MEFC, who we saw yesterday is definitely a decent team, and it wasn't MEFC at their best when they played, but I think this Tongfu team, they do have what it takes to beat IG. It won't be easy, it's not guaranteed. IG should be the favorites, but if Tongfu get to play their strategy, I think it works quite well against IG.
Yeah, Tongfu definitely have what it takes to take down IG. And like what you said before, why godz, he always has those insider info and he says Tongfu is underrated. I think this match will go down to 2-1 in favor of IG. Tongfu will be able to sneak out one game from IG.
Let's see. If they take that game 1, it might throw IG. One thing we saw from IG was a little bit of sloppiness on their day 1 appearance versus Vici Gaming. A little overconfident. We saw, what was it, a couple of players yelling at, was it zhou or Faith? You know, the Divine Rapier shenanigans of the second game.
Yeah,
that shouldn't have happened.
Rapier.
IG cannot underestimate Tongfu like they were taking Vici Gaming rather lightly. They cannot do that against Tongfu.
If they do that again, they'll be punished. They'll be punished hard by Tongfu. Tongfu is a very experienced team. Even though they have changed roster changes, but all of their players are all very well enriched with LAN experience. And if they do that mistake they did against VG, against Tongfu, Tongfu will punish them very hard.
I'm excited for this series. I'm interested to see if there will be any unusual picks. I would love to see that Ferrari Templar Assassin as well. I know he's been playing a lot of Night Stalker and Brewmaster lately, but hey, man. Oh, boy. Here's the vote. 88% IG. I think it's a little too much towards IG, but you can understand why. To be fair, when it's counted, IG has delivered almost every tournament. The lone exception was G1 League. That's where they got knocked out 2-0 by LGD, and then again lost to Orange 2-1 in the 3rd, 4th place decider match. But aside from that, at WCG, at the International 2, at Ace League, everywhere IG goes, they're taking home championships.
Yeah, and LD, the game just started, just to let you know. Just in case if you...
What's that?
The game just started.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're gonna watch in game because the Chinese stream is very, very laggy today. Oh, China, someday your internet will be wonderful. Today is not that day. At least not their connection to Twitch TV. The Great Firewall doing its evil work. Okay, so your prediction 2-1 for the series. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it is 2-1, but I'm gonna say Tongfu. They pull a fast one on IG.
Tongfu. So it's gonna be you on Tongfu, me on IG.
I'm not. Yeah, I love when the scene is very back and forth. I like to see all the teams being very close to each other. It's impressive when one team like IG is stomping everyone, like at the beginning of G1 League, but it's better for the scene, in my opinion, if all the teams are really fighting neck and neck. So Tongfu, I really do think they have what it takes. I think they're a good matchup for IG, but it all comes down to that start. If they make sloppy mistakes in the early game, there's no coming back against IG. They will just, they never stop pushing the advantage. But if you can hold on to your early towers like you talked about, slow down Ferrari and YYF, then come mid-game, you'll be in a pretty good shape. So I think Tongfu, they could do it, but if they have a bad start, it's probably not going to be a comeback.
Yeah, and not to mention the draft, especially if Tongfu get their heroes that they play well, especially the Keeper of the Light or the Queen of Pain, I think they will be able to do very well. Because usually when you have these heroes, you will have a very good start, just by the nature of how the hero works in the early phase.
Ferrari, nice of you to join us. He is connecting to the game just in the nick of time. And here we go. The draft is underway. Let's see if that Nyx Assassin is going to slip through. I really doubt it. The Bat Rider, one of the other big heroes that we've seen miraculously really getting through, but I don't think we're going to see either of them today. I'll be surprised if we do, but we start with an Undying Band, and it's going to be IG angling for one of those two as their first pick, most likely.
And I'm surprised that everyone is opting to, this match is not going to happen, opting to ban the Magnus over the Bat Rider. And every time the first pick team, they always get Bat Rider. I understand if you do it against LGD China because of Yao.
Yeah.
But against other teams, I don't know.
Nobody else.
I don't know if it's the right choice to give up the Bat over the Mag.
Nobody else in Group B is really in this tournament, I would say, is running the Mag anywhere near as well as Yao is. So, like you said, Yao's the exception, but the other teams, yeah, I would much rather give away a Mag than a Bat Rider. A lot of teams have a good Bat Rider, only a few really know how to use the Mag, and the one in this tournament, really, for me, is LGD China. And they want that. They want something good.
80% win rate with the Mag, or even 90.
Yeah, it's high.
You're the math person. You know what hero is the most effective.
I don't know if his win rate's 90%, but his reverse polarity on 3+ heroes rate is 90%, which is actually quite difficult against other Chinese teams because they almost always have the vision. They almost always have good positioning on the supports. And Tongfu, do they ban the Nyx Assassin here? Do they give away maybe that keeper of the light, the lone druid?
I think they have to ban the Nyx Assassin here. They have to.
Yeah, it's IG, because if IG get that, and then they get maybe the Night Stalker or something else, there you go. It does get banned out. TA first pick.
Interesting.
And Tongfu could go for the Queen of Pain, but she, especially if you're bottle crowing, doesn't really crush the TA in lane anymore. And then later on, the TA is going to have a decent time. We'll see.
She will have a better time right now because of the...
refraction.
Extra mana cost on the refraction. And if they do the same thing like... Was it IG? They pumped the Queen of Pain, the sentries at the start? Yeah, it was IG. TA will have a very rough first few levels because you can't dodge the Poison Strike with the meld.
Yeah, we'll see. But they, like you mentioned, like we saw yesterday, we may just see, wow, early pick. This is Veronica's Magnus. And that Tongfu, they do favor this, and you know, kind of makes sense because they are in some ways very similar to ldD China. They generally run multiple carries, but they do play very defensively. And Magnus, one of the best defensive off lanes if he has a decent start.
Do you know if Tongfu will ever run their Magnus on the mid lane?
It's always been Veronica on the off lane.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to run a mid because it's just, you know, Moos normally play more of a carry, and Hao normally gets the safe lane. So they kind of have to put him in the off lane.
It's their player distribution and the role, that's why. It's not that they don't like to run the Magnus on mid lane.
Yeah, I'm sure Veronica would much rather play the mid lane. It's a lot more fun. But against TA, that's not the most fun in the world.
Shadow Demon pick up very early.
For IG, we forgot about the Luna. The Luna and the Lone Druid are the two core heroes for Zhou. He's almost always playing one of these.
There's two teams that they didn't ban any of one. And probably they're still waiting for whoever picks up the carry first and to decide on what do they play the further start of the team. They are all still very flexible now for IG. They just pick up a TA. They could still morph into many different types of playstyle. And as for Tongfu, Shadow Demon, Magnus, it's just general heroes that are good in a lot of stuff, except for maybe Magnus, a lot more stronger in a 5-man Dota lineup. But he still does well in a speed pushing lineup.
We may see that Rubik come off the board here, even that Keeper of the Light. IG, if they want a really top-tier support, they'll have to take it now.
I think they'll pick one support and YYF's hero right here.
Do you think they would go for the Bounty Hunter in this game?
Or even Zhou's hero, yeah. I think it will be most likely Zhou's hero and a support.
Lone Druid, Keeper of the Light, there you go. Good push, good anti-push, very tanky, hard to kill. And the Lone Druid matches up well 1v1 against Magnus. Tongfu, early anti-mage. He lost once yesterday, but I would say that was less the anti-mage as a hero and more the way he was played.
Look at how they picked up LD this time. They didn't make the same mistake that
they took the Shadow Demon first.
They took the Shadow Demon instead of the Rubik, and they picked the anti-mage.
And they also left IG. I don't know. I don't think IG would run a Phantom Lancer, but it's pretty annoying to play against as anti-mage.
I don't think they can still run a Phantom Lancer with the Lone Druid.
No, I don't think so.
It's like very difficult because they are both role number 1 heroes, and I guess if you run both of them together, you won't see any creeps anywhere on the map.
So it's not only Ferrari who plays the Night Stalker. Moo is very well known for his Night Stalker, but having Ferrari's hero already, just go ahead and ban it out. Don't give it away, and it'll probably be all of those tempo controllers who could go mid. The Night Stalker, the Panda, they're all getting banned out.
But I think Tongfu could have a more of a better play during mid game if they have the co-op instead of the Night Stalker or the Panda, because basically co-op you can always push the lanes, and anti-mage plus the anti-mage pushing all the lanes, and having Keeper of the Light as one of your support doesn't help you at all killing the hero.
Winter, I hate to interrupt you, but apparently your in-game audio is not working, so make sure it's on, and if it is on, turn it off, and then on again.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I forgot.
Right. It should be fixed now, guys, so when you hear this, check in-game, let us know if it is. Anyway, you were saying you think the Queen of Pain would be a better pick because it's better for that split-pushing style with the anti-mage.
Yeah, and could you check if it's alright now? Because I just picked everything.
Yeah.
Or you have to wait minutes.
I can unmute you, just talk in-game.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, IG banned the Queen of Pain as well, the last ban. This is very, very important for them. Tongfu will have a very strong lineup if they have the Queen of Pain pushing the side lanes and Anti-Mage pushing the other two lanes. Magnus and Shadow Demon defending with the Wave and Shadow Poison. It will be very difficult for IG to push.
And IG, they're going to want to push later on. The Keeper of the Light, he'll most likely be going for the mechanism. So Zhou, safe lane lone druid, Ferrari mid, Faith on the Keeper of the Light. My only question for IG is, what are they going to do for these last two picks? Are they going to throw YYF to that solo lane? And is there any hero left in the pool that can really slow down the anti-mage? Or will he just not really look to slow him down? The Bounty Hunter was banned, one of his signature heroes. Who is YYF going to play this game? Who's even left for him?
They could go for Beastmaster and turn it into an all-in push with TA, but I doubt they'll do that. I doubt they'll do that.
It's not really IG. IG, they don't normally go all in like you're saying.
But unless they're going for Windrunner and they head for a tri-lane top Windrunner, keep out the light and one more stunner.
Oh, the YYF Windrunner. Wouldn't that be a treat?
Yeah. But
no,
I don't know. This could be a support Sand King. Well,
yeah, interesting.
But it's also a good thing if they run the Sand King as a sort of a third role, because with Sand King having its early daggers up, it helps them to kill Magnus and Anti-Mage because they are all heroes with escape ability, and Keeper of that sort of can't help them doing so. So if they do decide to run the Sand King as a third role, it'll be pretty good as well this game.
And this is something IG really needed. If you look at the 3 first picks, they have 0 stuns. Entangle, I'm not really going to count that.
Okay, Entangle, mini stun.
yeah, buddy.
You know, there's one more, Mana Leak. Mana Leak is a stun, LD. Mana Leak is a stun.
Let's talk about real stuns, Winter. cut the act, buddy. But yeah, it's true. And Mana Leak is actually very annoying for Anti-Mage. We saw that yesterday with CTY just running around, losing almost all of his mana.
Mana Wars yesterday.
Mana Wars. It's like Star Wars, the Clone Wars. It is the YYF Windrunner.
It's exactly what I said. They're gonna do the aggressive tri-lane, Syllabi on the safe lane against the Mag and Templar Assassin Miller.
So it's gonna be a support Sand King then. He's not gonna be getting much farm.
But I think the lane of Tongfu will be quite decent as well. Shadow Demon, Lina. If they do decide to run an anti-mage on the safe lane, I think that's pretty much what they're gonna do because they're not gonna do the Magnus in middle.
So it's gonna be tough. They have a good defensive tri-lane. It's gonna be hard for either team to get kills, but I think IG is gonna win that harassment war. They've got Illuminate and they've got Windrunner.
One thing important, they have to have a ward up at the side of the jungle to constantly scout out where the position of the keeper. Like, is he charging his Illuminate or not?
Yeah, the ward wars.
Yeah, the very few important factors in this 3v3. You can't let the Keeper of the Light harass down all your regen too fast in the game, and if you let him do that, in the end, they'll be just spamming power shots, Illuminate, until you can't even get anywhere close of XP range in the lane. And that would be very bad for the Lina and the Shadow Demon. These two heroes, they really need their levels to be able to contest.
Invoker is the last pick. Is this...
Yeah, I forgot to mention how well Invoker goes with Anti-Mage. Yeah, Invoker goes really well with Anti-Mage because Invoker sort of provide the crowd control factor that Anti-Mage needs so that he can just blink in during all the chaos and chop someone and mana void down a crucial hero. Invoker is also good to stall the pushes with his EMP and Tornado. I assume that he's going to do that build this game.
Hey, you can hear me clearly, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is anything wrong with me? My voice?
No, don't touch anything. You should be good in game. I think I'm good. I see a white bubble when I'm talking.
Me too. I see the bubble.
Okay, hopefully it's fixed. Guys, don't yell at us. It's Dota TV being annoying. But hopefully it's fixed now. If it's not, let us know. We'll toggle again. And we should be good to go. So quickly, I'll introduce Tongfu. You can introduce IG. We have sansheng playing that support Shadow Demon. Mu on one of his signature heroes, the Invoker. A hero we haven't seen much as of late in this tournament. Veronica on his standard offlane mag. longdd, formerly of DK, playing that support Lina. And How, gonna be on the safe lane anti-mage.
And for IG, we have Zhou on his Syllabi. And for middle, we have Ferrari on the TA. YYF on the Windrunner. Faith on the Keeper of the Light. There are three of them heading the aggressive tri-lane. And lastly, my fellow countryman Chuan on the Sand King.
Shout out to Malaysia.
Shut up to Malaysia. Oh, okay, we might not see more in the mid lane. Oh, they're gonna do a dual lane middle?
let's see. It looks like we need a pause. This will be a good time for us to sort out our... Or no, I guess not. Oh, okay, there we go. Hopefully the Dota TV audio is fixed now.
Yeah, hopefully. I think it should be fine now. It wasn't the Dota TV's fault before, it was me being just forgetful that I turned the in-game mic off. So I think it should be fine now. I already toggled everything as usual, the settings. Mic threshold to the far left and open mic on.
I toggled it. Hopefully it's fixed. Both casters sound fine now, thanks. Okay, I guess we're good to go. Okay, we're good. We're good. We're good, Winter. We're good. Okay.
The game is paused. You can use some of the time now to talk about the heroes.
Yeah, let's talk about the matchup. So offensive tri-lane for IG, they have sentries and observers. And if we look at Tongfu, they have the same as well.
And LD?
Yes.
Look at the Shadow Demon. Is it a hotkey problem again? Look at the Shadow Demon.
Why does he have Soul Catcher at level 1?
Why? Why? My friend.
What is his
why?
secret plan here? Has to be a mistake.
But Soul Catcher is the hotkey, Legacy is C. And if you set it to normal QWER, it doesn't make sense how he clicked it wrong. So I think he did it intentionally.
But why? Okay, so if he did it intentionally, what is the plan? They can't really gank with this because they don't have a setup stun for Lina. I guess maybe Cold Snap at level
Logically,
2.
I don't understand this.
Yeah, it's... If they had...
It's got to be a mistake. It's got to be a mistake.
If they had a setup stun, maybe a Sven or something, I guess it could make sense, but they don't have any way to set this up. And actually, Hao's going... They're sending Hao mid, maybe? What is he up to here?
I think it might be a...
Dual
because they're expecting a tri-lane top, and they're going to use Shadow Demon to play. But if they're doing that, it's still better to scale your disruption. They're going to do a dual lane mid against IG, like I said before. One of the few very crucial things that weakens IG's mid game is you put a dual lane against Ferrari. And they're going to sacrifice Mu a bit at top with his Invoker. You can see from the moment he bought this item, he's expecting a rough time. He has 2 sets of tangles. Usually you don't see this with Invoker, the Quas Invoker, because you just have so much regen from the Quas. And they're going to send longdd to support him at top. So it'll be like focusing on all their time in the early phase to shut down Ferrari first, giving Hao more of a better start.
I'm not sure about this though, because if you look at that lane, if it's Invoker and Lina, they're not going to be able to do anything if IG is going for the early push, and they should be. They have Runa Protection, they'll get the quick Runa Basilius, they're spamming Illuminate, maybe they're pulling the creeps away from the tower, and Tongfu, I don't think they're going to be able to defend that tower top for very long.
I think it's an important decision for them to make this way, because even though they couldn't defend the tower, I think that's not the important part of their draft. They have to focus on massing a lot of gold on anti-mage Hao, to give him a very good start. If he goes top lane with the safe lane, 2 supports, Shadow Demon and Lina, I don't think he can get as much farm as a dual lane middle. Because look at the heroes. They can just throw power shots and illuminate at anti-mage. I don't think he will have a good time, even if he goes for the early tranquil boots.
Yeah.
So I think tactically it's a better decision to lane the anti-mage in middle, because he can get more from the middle than as of the top lane. They have to sacrifice Mu though.
And Invoker is a hero it's not any hero to sacrifice, it's a hero that needs a good start to have an impact. Invoker is very, very level dependent. So yeah, it is a big decision, but it's what we talked about, is when you're against IG, you gotta shut down Ferrari, and if White Way have soloing, maybe you try to shut him down as well, but Ferrari is really the key, and especially on TA. TA is also a hero that needs a good start to have an impact, so they're basically making a trade. They're not gonna have much going on for the Invoker, but in exchange, they look to shut down Ferrari.
And you think about it, if you lane the Invoker in middle against CA, it's sort of not so good for the Invoker as well. But I'm not saying Invoker will lose for sure, but it's not a good lane for Invoker to be in. So technically, it's not even a trade-off, because the Invoker will still have a hard time in middle if they do the 3 in the safe lane. And by doing the Shadow Demon and Anti-Mage middle, it's really important not only to get the more farm on the anti-mage, but to shut down Ferrari as well. You have to know that in Tongfu's mind, you're going to put Veronica Magnus at the hard lane against Zhou's Syllabite. You have to expect Zhou to have more farm there, and if your anti-mage doesn't get farm at top, and the opponent's Syllabite has more farm, even not by a too huge margin, but has a better start, you're going to be in all sorts of trouble when it comes to mid-game.
Yeah, because he's got to be split pushing. That's how you stop the lone druid from getting your towers, is you force the enemy team to TP away.
Yeah, and if they had a bad start on an anti-mage and Syllabear destroys Magnus at bottom lane, it's going to be pretty much over for Tongfu. Even by the mid-game, even 15 or 20 minutes, it's going to be a lead that they cannot handle at all. So I think it's really important for them to make this decision to throw Hal in the mid lane.
Let's see how it pans out. The last time I saw IG have this aggressive tri-lane, they pushed down 2 towers very, very early.
Oh, LD, sorry there. I thought he was going to skewer the bear onto the hill. He actually had a chance there, the spirit bear, to skewer it up on the hill.
He hasn't leveled it up.
He was standing right here. I'm going to try to draw it. Oh, I can't draw it.
Yeah, I see it, I see.
But I don't see it on my...
Oh, he's taking a lot of harassment from Zhou.
Yeah, he went for the early Orb of Venom. This is Ice, Ice, Ice style.
Ice, 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 Bear.
Oh. Yeah, early Orb of Venom. Oh, they pulled him a Tangle in the south as well.
He's going to have a really nice time in this lane. So early Soul Catcher from Sansheng, maybe looking for extra harassment on Ferrari. Oh, they just used a glyph! I don't know if this will cost them too much. There's not really a great pushing, but just more hotkey issues.
Yeah, but sometimes I do take it wrong.
Moo's taking a lot of damage top. There's a burst strike in 4 seconds. Illuminates channeling. And it's actually just farming the enemy creeps. I thought maybe he was doing it through the tree line.
Yeah, he warded the pool a bit late and he got a spawn and he was thinking, why not? Let me kill it. Why not? Why not? Gold for me. Gold for me.
Moo is under extreme duress here. This is a lot of pressure early. Will Chuan try to tango through maybe? No, he doesn't have enough tangos right now.
He has to be extremely careful right now. He could die any moment here.
Do they have Vision of Fate? They don't have that vision. Uh-oh, this might be... There's no mana yet. He needs 3 mana. Doesn't matter. Tanks the wave. Will fall. And with Lina pulling, this is what we were discussing, is that's the trade. Your Invoker is going to get demolished in this lane. And an early first blood. It also doesn't help. longdd wasn't there. He was pulling the small camp, trying to deny that tri-lane. But it cost the first blood. Not something you want to give away.
Yeah, and they're going to... But he doesn't have a choice, really. He needs to pull, because even him being on the lane, it doesn't really help the Invoker much. And it's better off for longdd to pull and at least get some levels up. He was expecting the camp there, the neutral camp here, to be blocked, and he went straight to the small camp.
Oh,
to pull right away.
I want to point out this middle lane. It's very, very annoying. With the disruption, as well as anti-mage's mana burn, and the new refraction being more expensive, Ferrari is going to have a hard time holding onto his mana once he gets a little bit... Once the anti-mage gets a couple more levels and is just being more aggressive in this lane. It's going to be a hard lane for Ferrari.
Yeah, but I think he should be able to do not too bad. Better than the Invoker that's at top. Because he has the refraction and melt, it's hard for them to kill him. And Invoker at top is actually on the opposite. They could kill him really easily with the Barrow Strike, Illuminate, and Power Shot. Not to mention the Shackle Shot as well from the Rain Runner, as soon as she gets more levels.
See, you say that. The one thing is he's not going to be able to get runes. And if he doesn't have mana, he can't use refraction or melt. So we'll see. Early on, he'll be okay, but he's going to have to bottle crow.
Yeah, he has to bottle crow. P9 style bottle crow.
Which actually, if you look at the lanes, they don't really need the courier. Zhou's not going to need it. The tri-lane can go to the side shop. So the courier is free for him to bottle crow.
And for Tongfu's side, the courier is free for Veronica to bottle because they don't need it in middle and they don't need it in top. He could just use the bottle refill to at least help his cause against the Syllabear. He's already used up both his tangles already. 2 minutes.
This goes back to the level 1 clash. Yeah, the
level 1 clash, and he didn't take advantage of it. When the spirit bear, he actually walked right up to here. Can you see on the map? On the bottom river, he walked up here to this direction, and the Magnus was sitting down here. And he could have. There was a moment that he could have skewered it up, even with the 600 range level 1. He could have done it, but I was surprised that he didn't even attempt to do it. Because it would have been a big factor in the lane if he does that.
It is risky, though. If you mess it up a little bit, your hero ends up on top of the hill, too. It's not like the Rubik lift, where it's just a guaranteed.
But usually, the Magnus players, they practice it a lot in single players to make sure they don't screw up in the games. I know one person who does it a lot, Ice Ice Ice.
And I should point out, Ice 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 uses all the cliffs. Like, if you look at the Dire side, Oh, where is it exactly? I'm trying to remember. I think it's
This
this
one?
one right here.
Are you talking about this one?
Yeah, this one right here. I don't know if you can see. It's near the tier 1 top lane on the Dire side. There's this little cliff up here. He loves to use that.
I can't see where you're drawing, but I know.
You can probably see
I
right
can,
now.
I can see now.
Yeah,
this one.
He loves that cliff. That's the ice cliff. That's what I'm gonna call it from now on.
Ice cliff. Oh, when you said that Ferrari is not gonna get any runes, you're wrong.
I'm wrong. Anti-Mage could control these, but he just wants to get fat. He's gonna farm in sansheng. He went top.
No, actually it was Shangsheng's. Yeah, but he went top. He went top, and Ferrari, he didn't try to farm any in the lane. He saw anti-mage was standing in the lane to farm, and why not? He just went bottom to try his luck, and he got lucky.
Well, this is a nice rune because no matter what, they're not going to kill him now. Even with the sentries, I really don't see it happening. He should be able to walk away. Moose taking a lot of damage, being body blocked top lane, and he doesn't have a point of X yet. There is a cold snap available. Can he stop that next burrow strike? He's going to try to. It doesn't matter. And another kill coming out from IG. This Invoker really getting dominated, and if we look at the CS, Lone Druid still free farming, Anti-Mage even with him, but not ahead.
He has to play more careful right there. After the first bird, he knew that how easy is IG's 3 combination heroes to kill him. He has to be far more safer than that.
This is what I'm saying. When IG runs these aggressive tri-lanes with the YYF Windrunner, Fate's Keeper of the Light, and any other hero, it always seems that they're just getting too many kills on that safe lane. And then they get the tower, and then
so many pauses.
Yeah, so many pauses. It's very hard to get a rhythm in this game. And the other problem is when they get those early towers, IG are very consistent about getting aggressive wards up, stealing your neutrals, even pulling the lane back, and also ganking your middle lane. Once this tower goes down, they can start to pressure Hao quite a bit in mid.
And they'll leave the Keeper of the Light at top lane, illuminating all the creeps and YYF, and they could do the other way as well, leave YYF in the lane and Faith go to follow the Sand King to other lanes, but it's still up to them what they want to do.
I think that's what they'll do. I think they'll leave YYF here, they'll send Chuan and Faith bottom to do a lot of pulling to get some levels, or maybe just stack and pull the Dire jungle, since they'll be controlling it at that point.
Yeah, but before they do that, they have to chuck a ward right in the jungle around here, or even here, so that YYF can feel much more comfortable when the 2 supports are away.
I'm trying to find your wards, by the way. I didn't see where you were drawing.
Okay,
just tell me. Just tell me where you're drawing.
The jungle. That's the jungle. On the Dire jungle.
Yeah. Oh, you know I can't see it. It's because it's paused. That's why. Oh well.
Oh.
Just describe it approximately where they would go.
It's just anywhere they could put in the Dire jungle, as long as it gives vision. Usually you try not to ward the high ground, because it's the high cliff, because it's easy for Tongfu to anticipate and de-ward it.
Yeah, maybe even something like in this region, near the small camp.
Yeah. Are the players lagging?
Oh, and also this hill is very nice. The pings seem okay. Have they said anything in chat? No, they haven't explained why they have the delay.
I just saw the admin checking pings.
I'm looking at the pings, and one of Tongfu's players has... Tongfu seem a little bit lower, but not... No, I think everyone's the same. It must be something else.
Technical issues, probably.
So if we look at gold, it's over 1,000 lead for the Radiant. Experience, close to 1,000 lead for them. Still very early. The concern for me is Lone Druid is actually outfarming the anti-mage, and they're winning the tri-lane on the side of IG, and Invoker's really getting neutered in this game. He's actually having to run back to lane, because he didn't even have money for a TP.
Even though he TPs in, he wouldn't feel comfortable standing there.
But it's more experience he's not getting, that's the problem.
That's what I think. But it was still better for them, I think, to lane it that way, but they're losing. The goal advantage is because they're losing 2 lanes now, top lane and bottom lane. And I think that Veronica should try to ferry some bottles later on to help him deal with the lane. He will be one of the factors to help them during the top lane when the 3 of the IG heroes try to dive them, and if he can get his level 6 and TP up and some mana pool, he could TP in and reverse the fight and catch a few of the heroes overextending. But at this rate, he doesn't even have a bottle now, so I don't know if he'll be able to do it. later, as soon as he can.
Yeah, you mentioned bottle crowing, but you do have to get that bottle first, and buying a stout shield,
Yes.
buying a stout shield slows you down.
No, he didn't. Oh, he just started with the stout shield. He didn't buy. He started the stout shield. Yeah, it's a standard offlane item as mag.
Yeah.
You start a stout shield, 2 tangles and souls. Some players tend to not get the branch and get the clarity instead because you could just stand behind. If you're usually Magnus, you have to stand behind against most of the solos, and you can just use the time to clarity up and get another shockwave off.
But the downside is, it does delay your bottle. Like you said, it's necessary, but the bottle is still not out. And even once he gets the bottle, he's probably going to need boots to actually accomplish anything here, because Fate's going to have his soon, YYF already has his, and we'll have Face boots or Arcanes if he wants them soon. And Chuan, the one hero who doesn't, but Sansheng's a slippery guy to begin with. I'm not sure, because he's being slowed down, Mag can turn the fights around, but it's going to be longer before he really is able to do so, because he's not getting those items out as quickly.
Yeah, I agree on that as well. And one more thing I would like to point out. I think this is maybe a strategical mistake in the ward placement. If you come to think about it, do you actually need... Oh, I need to draw. Oh, you can't see it. Never mind, I just tell you. Do you actually need both the wards on Tongfu to be visible on both the runes? Because you have to know that IG is running a tri-lane top. You would be better off having the ward in the jungle so that you can see if the Sand King or Keeper of the Light is trying to go around and gank the Invoker. Probably if they have the ward there, it would be much more comfortable for Mu to stand in the top lane. I don't think they need these 2 wards in the rune, because sansheng will be roaming to control the runes. So actually you can have the ward at either one of the side and sansheng moving to the other side. So I don't think they needed these 2 wards.
But like you said, they did anticipate this offensive tri-lane. That's why they sent the dual lane mid.
Yeah, the thing is they anticipate the tri-lane top, but they didn't use the wards to the maximum potential to deal with the tri-lane. So
I see
I'm
what you're
really
saying.
questioning this. Yeah, I'm really questioning this. For one thing, I think they did a good job to anticipate it and change the lanes, but the warding let them down.
And the other thing is, do they really need 2 wards mid anyway? It's not... Even if IG were running a defensive tri-lane, or even if they were roaming, who's really roaming? It's a Sankey with no boots, he's level 3 and a Keeper of the Light, and you have a dual lane mid, anti-mage Shadow Demon, that nobody should ever die in this lane, even if they come to gank you this early. So, do you really need 2 wards there? It seems very unnecessary. Even if they're trying to gank this lane, it's just not going to work.
Well, one thing you want to have when you're dual laning middle is you want to have a ward that shows vision on the high ground on the opponent's side. So, and this ward, both the wards doesn't show the high ground, and they just scouts the rune for Tongfu. I don't think they maximize the usage of the ward there.
Yeah,
it could help them a lot.
Here comes the dive. This is what whenever you run these offensive tri-lanes, longdd is so screwed here. Illuminate's being channeled, misses the light strike away. Nice juke away by Chuan. Now the wind run, YYF tanking the tower. One of the other benefits to the offensive tri-lane with the wind runner. She's taking a lot of tower damage, but not enough. Meanwhile, on the middle lane, Ferrari will pop his invis rune. And Shadow Demon heading up top just for the moment. But now, checking the rune, I guess. And is he going to look to D-ward here? There's nothing to D-ward.
Yeah, there's nothing.
He did not put it in the river because he doesn't have any way to see the high ground there.
This time, Hao went for the rune.
Yeah, Ferrari got it once. He's not going to get it again for free.
And look at Ferrari, 8 to 8 is very good. If you think about the lane he's had, that's the thing. If you add the 8 denies into Hao's CS, that's why Hao is behind the Silhouette.
But longdd even has more denies too.
Illusion was middle.
Yeah, Ferrari getting blocked, but it's not enough of a block. And that's just... He's too far towards his side of the hill. You just can't kill him off early. And I want to point out, IG is playing this tri-lane very well. The early run of Basilius, they're spamming the waves down, and then they're diving with the creeps. They're letting Windrunner tank the tower with Windrun. All the little touches here, they're getting these kills, and they're getting out safely. When you run an offensive tri-lane, you have to execute every aspect perfectly to get these kills.
Yeah, you have to have your Basilius open, push the creeps down, and try to dive from behind. That's where, I said before, it's so important for Tongfu to have the vision there. You see, if they just took Illuminate Blast again because they didn't have vision.
And Faith's only level 3. He doesn't even have that Illuminate leveled up just yet. Bottom lane, a lot of damage being done to Zhou. And in comes the Shadow Demon. It looks like he tried to rotate bottom, but Zhou was already level 6. And that lone Druid, Shadow Demon, not really the best at getting those kills. He really wants the Lina there if they're going to go for that. Also, they didn't have RP, so wasted time. And this is going to give Ferrari more space mid. I gotta say, Tongfu's early movement's not working out. And IG not feeling the need to make one. Mu gets Burrow Strike top lane. Light Strike Array is gonna miss. Chuan's been dodging these like a boss now. Goes inside Ghost Walk. There's a power shot. Power shot. Oh, and the Illuminate. Just barely missing. Burrow Strike number 2. longdd is gonna pay for it. So they still get a kill. They almost got 2. Mu's on the run. YYF spots him. He's got the set. He should have the angle. Where's the power shot? Not gonna channel it fully, but still misses. Mu juking even without any boots. Very impressive to juke that with no boots.
I think they could have Windrunner could have made a slightly better decision because he had boots and Invoker doesn't. He can just try to run up and close the distance first before he can try another power shot. It would have slightly increases her chances of getting the power shot hit on the Invoker, but it's just some small thing I'm just saying.
And she could maybe even just auto attack him down because the Invoker has very below average base move speed and he's only got Quas at this point. I mean, he's got 1 point, which doesn't really help mid lane. Onto Ferrari. Double damage run is here. RP on 2. What an RP by Veronica, creating some openings, but Burrow Strike on 2. Turning it around. The Illuminate also turning it around. Hao trying to run. Hao's gonna fall. Disaster for Tongfu mid.
Oh, they lost the anti-mage. That's very, very, very bad for Tongfu.
The whole point of the dual lane mid, you said, is to make sure that anti-mage farms. Top lane fails, anti-mage delayed in his farming. He's now 15 CS behind Zhou. And Zhou, up to another 600 gold. What does he have on the bear right now as well? Boots and an Orb of Venom. The Orb of Venom he started with. He also bought a Stout Shield and Tranquil Boots complete. Now he's going to go for that Relic. Well, actually, will he? Actually, Zhou hasn't always gone for the Relic. We've seen him go for Phase Boots on the bear. We've seen him go for Maelstrom. But whatever he's going for, he's very far ahead of the anti-mage.
I think it's okay if he doesn't go for the Relic. If he goes for the Maelstrom build, it is actually very better to deal with the anti-mage in the game. And since they have a Lanaya as a second source of right-click damage, he doesn't really need to be too big.
Mid lane, they're trying to get aggressive here on Ferrari. Okay, he'll be alright. He doesn't. You were saying about the Maelstrom build.
Yeah, he doesn't really need to be farming all the time with to maximize the farm with the Radiance build. He can always go for the Maelstrom because there's always a Lanaya to back him up in the form of a secondary damage, so that he doesn't need to worry about all the right-click burden being laid on him for his team. So he can actually go for the Maelstrom or even other builds rather than the mainstream Radiance build.
The Radiance build is nice to counter the split push, but do you really need to counter the split push? It's going to be very delayed this game. How with that death? What does he actually have for items? Tranquil Boots and a Quelling Blade. Up to 500 gold. There's nothing on the Courier. Even if he's going for the Battle Fury, it's going to take a while. The Lone Druid, in the fights, like you said, having extra attack speed is very nice. More chance to entangles, more chance to kill that anti-mage.
Look at how badly Veronica is getting dominated in the lane. Lone Druid has 50 CS and 22 denies, and he has 14 to 1.
He did leave the lane earlier, but even so, this is very, very poor CS, and Zhou's doing a very nice job shutting him down.
Yeah, the early mistake that Veronica made, where he took in so much damage, that really hurt him as the lane goes on.
And also, like you pointed out, he had an opportunity to have the advantage in this lane if he was able to skewer the bear on the high ground, but he didn't do it, and now it's really costing him.
He didn't even. The thing is, if he didn't even try to do it, that's what surprised me. You could have just tried because it's no harm trying. If you get it, you have a good position in the lane. If you don't get it, you don't lose much. You just lose the mana cost for doing the skewer. It's 80 mana.
I want to point out Faith early headdress. We already see the Windrunner going for probably the mech, and then we're going to see Faith rush that pipe most likely, and it could be the other way around.
The other way around. Yeah, it could be the other way around.
Hao's taking a lot of damage. Hao's taking a...
Oh, top lane, top lane.
Top lane, they're going into YYF, but he is pretty hard to kill. Laguna is enough to bring him down with that level 1 Soul Catcher. In comes the Illuminate. The counter gank is here. longdd on the run. Mu goes inside the Invis. Veronica's joined the fight. Mu's got to be careful. He doesn't want to get caught, but the Burrow Strike there, not going to land. Now Chuan on the back foot. Now he's running away. Ferrari joining, trying to throw out some side blades here and there. The RP is still available. The Shockwave flies out, missing completely. A lot of rotations, but one hero who is not rotating is Zhou. Zhou is pushing bottom. The tier 1's going to fall soon.
He delayed his decision there. He wanted to use the RP when he hasted in, and the Sand King managed to nick him before he landed his RP.
And it's going to be the Maelstrom build again for Zhou. He's got the Phase Boots and the gloves out. Already up to 61 CS.
When you see him go for the Phase Boot, you know it's the Maelstrom build.
Yeah. He bought them all just so quickly. And Anti-Mage is coming bottom, but Hao is going to have a very hard time CSing in this lane.
He's going to take so much harass from the bear.
Zhou doesn't have mana, but he also doesn't care that much about it.
He doesn't need the mana, he doesn't care.
Oh, top lane. Looks like we missed an epicenter and a YYF. Did he hit a shackle there? I'm not sure, but they did pick up a kill.
The shackle was on cooldown, I checked.
Yeah, it was on cooldown. I'm not sure if he actually landed it, but they get the kill. And look at these supports. Sand King already up to level 7. Keeper of the Light up to level... what is he? Level 6, so getting a lot of levels on the supports. If we compare the levels, Shadow Demon's level 4, sansheng, does he even have boots? Boots on the smoke, that's it. longdd, boots on the TP, that's it.
Yeah, getting steamrolled over the early game. This is what they had to avoid, to be able to do the split push, and it looks very bleak now for Tongfu.
And guess
very bleak. Even though it's only 11 minutes, it looks so bleak for them.
It looks bleak gold-wise. They're down almost 7,500 gold, or maybe 6,000 there, maybe a little bit closer to 6,000. Experience, even a bigger difference, something we talked about. And crucially, the Invoker only has 3 points in Wex. Normally you'd like to see 4 or even 5 at this point. And also, they have Keeper of the Light, so the mana boots already out at YYF. And the Keeper of the Light, the mana drain isn't going to be that good. Veronica, oh, Shackle, gonna miss top. Do they get the Entangle here? He's still got a Skewer. Not using it just yet.
No first hit Entangle this time.
Zhou is clearly not a good lone druid player. All good players get first hit Entangle.
Yeah, I remember what you said before. All the good lone druid players have first hit Entangle. If you're not a first hit Entangle lone druid, you're not a good lone druid.
Zhou, you noob. Of course, he's a fantastic lone druid player. Already getting very, very fat. He's going to have the Mithril Hammer momentarily, and that is just the recipe for the Maelstrom. And the key for this is, they want to group up and push. That's why we see them rushing the mech and the pipe. And this Maelstrom build, you get the Assault Cuirass out quicker. We've talked about this before. They're going to have all 3 of those core items maybe in the next 8 minutes, 10 minutes or so at this rate. And that's going to be very hard for Tongfu. The bear comes in. There's your first hit Entangle. sansheng power shotted, brought down by YYF. Anti-Mage jumps in, but what can he really do? He's got a Mana Void. Not enough damage though. Faith still had a decent chunk amount of moves gonna drop. Now YYF turning on Hao. Where are they gonna focus the fight here? Veronica already used the RP. Hasn't accomplished a whole lot. And now the turnaround Burrow Strike on 2 by Chuan. Ferrari's joined the fight. Shackle is gonna be there. Now Hao blinking away. They need this Entangle. They need this Entangle. It's only a level 2 blink. They'll get one more chance here. Will they land it? Not going to. Hao dodges a bullet. He'll escape to safety. And the pressure, as soon as that tier 1 drops, it's just go time. And also what prompted it, TA's now got her blink. It is now very dangerous for Tongfu to be anywhere.
Yeah, in that fight, the Magnus used his RP on the Syllabe and they used a Laguna on him and he didn't even look like he was gonna die.
And meanwhile, on the side of Tongfu, they all died very quickly. sansheng gets entangled again. Blink in by Ferrari, assassinating the supports. These defensive supports not able to use their defensive abilities. And now the Lina bites the dust. Skewered back, but there's no RP. Maybe skewered into his own doom. Still running, and then still chasing on the side of IG. One more Burrow Strike, gets the kill. Moo on the retreat. Another Illuminate. Faith is doing so much damage, and IG is just demolishing Tongfu. They gotta have a good start when they pick a lineup like this to counter kill, but not worth it. Anti-Mage is gonna bite the dust. The only casualty, the Keeper of the Light, who after that death, GG! Wow. Brutal.
That's very, very brutal.
That was very painful to watch. And Tongfu, it's what we talked about. They had to have a good start. You cannot defeat IG with this split-pushing style, with this mid-game defensive lineup. If you lose your lanes, you're screwed.
And one more thing as well. I didn't expect them to give IG the Keeper of the Light. They could have picked him, but...
Even if they had better wards and everything like that, IG is so good at executing that aggressive tri-lane with YYF on the Windrunner and Faith on the Keeper of the Light. I don't know if it really would have mattered. The wards might have helped, but would it have really been a solution? I'm not even sure.
The wards would definitely help, but like what you said before, if you want to do a tri-lane and you want to prevent the enemy team of having a too good tri-lane, you can't let them have the Keeper of the Light. If you have the Keeper of the Light, it always swings to your favor. If a 3 versus 3 do happens, and it does pressure the opponent's side a lot. As you can see, Tongfu, they didn't even try to do a 3 versus 3 because they knew it was going to be very difficult for them.
And IG, that's the one thing, is once they get that slight advantage, they just push it. They push it so hard, they milk it for all it's worth.
Yeah, they played the lane so well from the start. every mistake, every positional error made by the invoker is punished with him dying.
Man, the Chinese stream is just so laggy today. I'm gonna try refreshing it. Maybe that will help. Guys, I do apologize. This is out of my control. It's not me lagging, or you wouldn't hear our voices clearly. It is, I guess, something to do with their connection to Twitch TV, and a little bit unfortunate. But Winter, can Tongfu bounce back from this game one? And if so, what do they need to do?
They need to make sure that the drafting phase, they don't give away two heroes that can form a very strong partnership in the tri-lane. Because you sort of know that IG style, they always like to be so aggressive in the early side, and if you do give them a tri-lane which is too strong for you to handle, they would make you pay for it, pressure your carry to the point where there's no room to farm, and your whole early game collapses, and the split push would be nearly impossible to do because of the collapse which happened during your early phase of the game.
I go back to the way the draft opened. It was IG taking... they got that Keeper of the Light. I think it was with their third pick in the draft, I believe, or their second/third.
Tongfu could have picked the Keeper of the Light earlier.
It's such a crucial hero in this matchup. It's been an important hero in all of the games, but especially if you're Tongfu, you give that away, and then you're running two carries. You're running a lineup that needs to have a good laning phase that can't really punish the enemy team or fight as well early on. You need that Keeper of the Light on your side or banned out. Otherwise, it's so difficult to fight IG.
Because usually when you pick an anti-mage, you want to... It's either you have two types of strategy you run. You either put the anti-mage against their off-lane solo, which you can dominate, but in IG's case, they don't allow it. They will definitely do an aggressive tri-lane, and the other solo lane would be Syllabare. If you send your anti-mage to the Syllabare's lane, you're not going to have a good time as well. So it basically forced Tongfu to pit the anti-mage in the middle lane with the Shadow Demon supporting him.
And Ferrari played that very well. Also, a little bit of bad luck that he got that Invis rune mid, but nonetheless, it was going to be the one downside to the dual lane mid with anti-mage is you can't get kills on a lot of heroes. It's strong against a few solo mids, but the ones we see nowadays, the ones that Ferrari plays, especially that TA, you're not going to kill him unless you get very, very lucky with a body block, and it didn't happen. And if they didn't get kills mid, Ferrari, he even had a blink dagger fairly soon, and that's what happens with the offensive tri-lane for IG. They don't just sit there in top lane, they pressure, they dive the tower, they get kills, they leave the Reign of Basilius on, they knock down the tower, and then they rotate the Keeper of the Light mid. They sent Faith to mid lane, and he was also denying the anti-mage farm, spamming Illuminate. We saw the counter ganks. And for Tongfu, they tried to turn to the Magnus to turn things around in that middle lane, but the problem was IG supports already had the levels and the TP scrolls. They were prepared for that. If you just have one hero who can turn the game around, IG are going to be able to turn that around again, and they're going to be able to counter gank your counter gank and punish it.
I think this game, Tongfu has to try to pick the Keeper of the Light earlier to deny it to IG and use it in their favor to defend the towers and split push with whatever how it's going to use or Mu is going to use. That's going to be one of the really important heroes they need to pay more attention to the next game.
Let's see. They did ban out the Nyx Assassin, and they let the Keeper of the Light through. It did end up... It seemed like it cost them in the end. So, guys, that's going to wrap it up. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, they could... it's hard to ban the Keeper of the Light early, but you could always still pick it later on.
Yeah.
But they didn't ban it, and they gave IG... They had a good chance to pick it in the first two picks they had, because being second pick you can have two heroes.
Yeah.
But they didn't pick it, and IG didn't even think about anything, and they just took the Keeper of the Light when Tongfu just let it go.
The new game is up, by the way, so go ahead and join that. Guys, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back with game number 2 soon. IG leading this series 1-0. The team that seems to win all the major tournaments over in Asia, over in China, and hey, even in the world, if you look at the international too, they jump out to a quick 1-0 lead. If they win this game, they are sitting pretty in the group and in prime position to advance as the #1 seed, along with ldDOTA International, who already did that coming out of Group A. So stay tuned, more G League action coming up soon.